this is the overall market sentiment. If you're holding altcoins, you don't want to get tricked out of your position. Look at this chart here, the altcoin market cap. Better times are ahead. The pullbacks have been had. Could we see lower? Potentially, yes. But check this out here. We see this inverse head and shoulders pattern, this downwards neckline, and look, this is a bullish pattern. We came up, hit the technical targets perfectly, but then started to create some micro bull flags, some more bull pennants, and higher highs, higher lows. This higher low around where we are right now at 588 billion. What's the next thing that is coming? You see one leg, two, three, four, and then you have that fifth leg blow off top before 2025 or Q1 of 2025. Either way, you don't want to sell your stack right here. Don't get tricked out of your position. And with that, what's happening, Crypto Crew? Sean's coming back at you. We're diving into the charts today, so make sure you watch this one to the end, because at the end, we want to show you when could this market really peak. Let's check it out. Let's get straight into it. Take a look at the total three. As mentioned, we're at $583 billion. What do we see? What do we anticipate? So look here. Okay, these are around the halvings, the blue lines right here. So keep that in mind. But we're looking at quite a few different oscillators, different indicators. But you see, once the market bottomed out, we started to stair step our way up. This was December of 18. We stair stepped our way up and then fell through this upwards movement. Well, look here, we bottomed out here, but then once we fell through this, we made a double bottom, sort of like a W pattern. And look what happened here. We started stair stepping our way up, fell through this trade sideways, and because it's like, I make it a little bit bigger so you can see that double bottom pattern that played out as well. Then we started to stair step our way up again. Now, looking back at the charts, when we started to stair step our way up after we had this pandemic dump, what happened? We respected this support line here. And once we fell through it, we traded sideways and almost got back down to this retest of this 20 moving average, this green line. And once we got close, we didn't kiss it perfectly. Once we got close, we were off to the races, and then blasted through that resistance and actually hit this resistance, this first trend line that was set from this first uptrend. When we hit the bottom of that for the retest, that signaled sort of the top. So look here, where we are right now. Rinse, repeat. We stair step our way up, we're trading sideways, and we almost came down to that 20 moving average. Didn't quite get to it, might kiss it, might not, but if we don't, history is definitely rhyming. Then we'll come up and potentially hit the bottom side of this first trend line. Where could this take us up to? 1.5 to 2.5 trillion is in the cards. That's what we showed you right here. Looking at total 3 divided by Bitcoin, because everything you want to look at Bitcoin terms. You don't really care about US dollars because you're not going to sell the dollars because it's a diminishing asset. Don't hodl dollars, hodl Bitcoin. So we want to know what this same total 3 chart looks like in Bitcoin terms. So looking here, we came up to this upper resistance. So we're in this channel, these 2 orange lines. Came back down to the bottom, came up, and as you see, when we came to the bottom, we had this resistance back here. We had resistance back here. We had support here, support here. Right here was actually a fake out. We thought we were coming up, and then this pulled back, and then had another fake out down here, because this actually does support the bottom of this. We had 2 support levels here, and then blasted through this. You note that we did have a little bit of resistance, this red candle here, and got squeezed before we got squeezed up. So let's look here. We see this upwards resistance level here, and here has been respected to the top of the channel. The next thing to see, will we hold this midline? We're coming back down towards it. This midline acted as support, support, fall through, fake out, and then slight resistance, breakout. Now this has been all bear market action. Could we actually break out of this channel? That's potential. Now, could we have a rounding bottom? That's what this sort of looks like it could be before we come back up to retest this upper bound of this channel. That could be in the cards. Or are alts going to continue to get decimated and come back down to retest this bottom line? This will be max pain. For ones that are in altcoins, if there is no alt season this cycle, and institutions just go crazy into Bitcoin, and there's really no retail returning, This is a scenario you cannot discount, but you just want to make sure that you are weighing out every option, diversifying your portfolio appropriately. Some people's risk appetite is more than others, but we don't think that we're not going to have an alt season. I think it's going to coming from the Bitcoin bros. Looking at BNB in Bitcoin terms, what do we see? What do we anticipate? Now, look at this blue line and the green line. These are important indicators to pay attention to. The blue line, as you see, is the moving average 2. Green line is moving average 1. So you're looking at the 20 and 40. So what do we want to see? We want to see Bitcoin get back above both of these the same way it did back here. I'm sorry, this is not Bitcoin, this is BNB. And right now, zooming out on this chart, if we zoom out, I know there's a lot going on, but we're showing you all these different indicators for a reason. We've been in this channel. We have this downward support here way back in late 2017, and then we hit our head here, bottomed out here, hit our head here, and then bottomed out here. So if history is any indication of what's to come in Bitcoin terms, could we come back up to the top of this channel? Yes, we could. And if we do so, that's an 833% gain against Bitcoin. Now, looking at the RSI, we are putting in lower highs and lower lows. So will we get a cool off, and will we break this to the downside? That's something to definitely pay attention to. That'll be potentially a sell signal for BNB. But if we hold this and we get a little bit upwards momentum, then you just got to be patient here. Now, the oscillators, the stochastic RSI is showing us, potential cooling down to the upside. So we'll see what that looks like. Last bull cycle, we had a cool down and it came back down and retested this perfectly. So will we come back down and run into this before we have a rally like this? That's potential. And then there's a pending buy signal on the smooth hash ribbon. So pay attention to this. Another altcoin, AIOZ. USD versus Bitcoin. This chart looks textbook beautiful. Why do we say that? Because look here. Look at the actual price action. We came down, bottomed out, rallied back up, and we had a cup and handle pattern right here. This was a textbook cup and handle. We broke this previous resistance right here, right here, right here, came back up, flipped this resistance, because it was resistance on the downside, to support, came back down and kissed that 20 moving average perfectly. And are we going to get this rally to the upside? If so, technical target for this would be another about over 1,000% gain against Bitcoin. Is this realistic? Potentially. We got to be patient. This is an AI play. Keep this in mind. The oscillators are now in negative territory. So will we trade sideways? Will we break this neckline? You have to pay attention to this pending buy signal as well on the smooth hash ribbon. Looking at another AI token, FET AI in Bitcoin terms. So look here. What do we see? What do we anticipate? Now, this chart can be looked at in a multitude of different ways, so pay attention, because it looks like we are below the 20 moving average, which indicates a slow movement, bearish, maybe sideways movement. We did that before here. Doesn't mean we're going to go too much further. Now, note this resistance level here and this resistance level here. So is this the actual resistance level, or are these fake outs? Meaning, should this trend line be more aligned right here? And this might seem a bit more appropriate, because when you see here, we fell down and we actually respect this as support, had a brief relief rally before we bounced through it, and then came back up and kissed this line perfectly here and then here. And then this could be a fake out move here, and this could be another fake out move here. And then we respected that as resistance. And look, came back down. Are we kissing this level right now? So could Fetch AI be another AI play? This seems like this is an opportunity. Opportunity never feels like opportunity. Remember that. Everybody's favorite, Solana. Solana's also looking bullish as well in Bitcoin comparative. Remember, not US dollar value, Bitcoin comparative for this video. So what do we see? What do we anticipate? We see Solana coming up, coming down, now coming up, trading in this channel. Now, if we zoom into the price action, we see that we came back and kissed that 20 moving average perfectly while respecting this channel support line. Now, will we break this? It's a possibility. Zooming out on the charts, take a look at the macro. This is a major level to pay attention to because as you see, we came back down and acted as support here, resistance here, and now it's been acting as support really since December of last year. So the next leg up, when will that come? Could be sooner rather than later. Looking at the RSI, we see the RSI is putting in higher highs and higher lows still, and we still haven't been in extreme overbought territory. Let's make this a little bit bigger so we can take a look at it and make it all make sense. So coming up here, now we could use this as the bottom for this pullback. That means if we do come back and test this downwards resistance, that means there's some more to come. But if that's a fake out on the RSI and we use these two pullbacks as the resistance level, then you see a different story that we could be getting ready to just almost retest the 50, the midline, before having a continuation to the upside. So that's the RSI. You see there's a pending buy signal on the smooth hash ribbon, and also the stochastic RSI is showing negative momentum. So we could get below this 20 moving average or continue to trade sideways. Because we've been trading sideways in this channel and you see we've been coming down. So just because this is coming down doesn't mean we got a breakdown. So we just got to pay attention to these levels here. We have a continuation, and this could act as some type of bull flag that we already measured out for you with this line here. From where we are right now, if you get an entry against Bitcoin, you'd be looking at roughly a 370% gain. Solana, that's definitely good. So 1 turns to 4.7 as far as the gain goes. Definitely massive opportunity here. Now look at this update from Miles Duchner. This is potentially when the cycle could end for altcoins. So every halving cycle, you got it July of 16, May of 20, and April of 24, alts peaked roughly 546 days. So we see the peak there perfectly in 2017, see the peak there perfectly in 2021. So will this go all the way towards the end of 2025, October 25, I think this is, if I'm not mistaken. And how high will this go? Definitely an opportunity. And right now, is this something that you need to be paying attention to and just hodling until? Well, we have a different alternative way to look at this. But before we look at that, is the retest done? Look at this chart from Rick's Trades. Now, we see this indicator below. Every time this black line crosses below the green line, that shows the pullback is completed in both copper versus gold and Bitcoin. And look at rally to the upside, rally to the upside, right here, every single time. Rally to the upside, rally to the upside, and look what just happened. These just crossed. So how much farther downwards pressure could we see? Or is the bottom already in? And now, how long could it take for this cycle to actually peak? Rick's Trades weighs in on this as well. It's not lagging, it's doing what it's always done and always tops before stocks. So what is he looking at? He's looking at each bottom of the previous few cycles. So from the top to the bottom. And then when that bottom is formed, we see another cycle peak, roughly 852 days. Bottom out, 852. So if you know the peak, you can look back towards the bottoms, align perfectly. Or if you know the bottom, you can look out to the future and see when that peak could be for Bitcoin. So let's take a look at this really quick. There's a lot going on this chart. Bitcoin also has a pending buy signal as well. Everything looks bullish in the Bitcoin chart. Let's make this a little bit bigger. And we have the bottom right here, these blue lines. And this all cross checks and cross verifies 861, 854. That's just because we're using the 2-week chart. It's not going to line up perfectly because as looking at this chart, you see he is on the 3-week. So let's look at where we are right now. Compared to this bottom here, 852 days. Let's pull out our measuring tool. The date range. When could this next cycle peak be? 852 days, roughly March of 2025. So if Bitcoin peaks around here, altcoins, historically peak roughly around the same time or within a month after of Bitcoin's peak. So Miles is talking about towards the end of 2025, and then Rick is telling us 852 days, which we just showed you, the end of Q1 of 2025. That's about a 6 or 7 month difference. So you got to pay attention and see what's going on. The Bitcoin bros think that we could be seeing the cycle peaks by the latest of Q1 of 2025. We could be wrong, but based off of the bottoming structure, how bullish we've been, consolidating around previous resistance, and then holding these macro moving averages, everything still looks bullish to the upside. Alts have been getting tested, but any lower price action is a buying opportunity within the next 12 months. Keep this in mind. And with that, that's all I have for you today. Once again, I'm Sean with the Bitcoin Bros. You guys like this content, go ahead and smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and show us some love. We appreciate each and every one of you. And with that, I'm out.